it was a tough one to gauge because I like to get the meeting booked on the very first call that I have with some of these guys. But I'd spoken to him, like I said, the last week, and there was interest there, and his response, funnily enough, the week before was very positive. And then it led to send me an email. And I always say the send me an email is often the death of the pitch because you're left having to call them back again. And the second time you call them, you're never typically going to get the same positive response you do the first time. You have to find a new way to hook them back in.
He's totally
Most people,
forgotten what
for
you guys
sure.
have a conversation. So a lot of times you're like, oh, I sent this email and you're waiting and you're hoping and you think that they're advanced in your pipeline and they just got off the phone the previous time and they haven't thought about you since.
Yeah. And this is where it's so important to handle objections like send me an email. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. But you want to be able to book the meeting there and then. And often it just comes down to again asking more questions or at least getting a better cold call opener.
But how do you try to get out of the, yeah, I'll just send you an email and having that be part of your sales process?
Yeah, there's a few different ways to deal with it. Oftentimes with humor. So sometimes I'll actually, if I've had a good start to the call and we get on with each other, I'll ask a very direct question. It's either have you ever met a CFO who gets too many emails? And of
Mhm.
course they're never going to say no to that, right? Yeah, we get loads of emails. Exactly. Let me stand out and can we at least have a conversation? Um, Another reframe I like to use is just to say, have you ever had an email that's better than a conversation?
Yeah,
Because
that's a good one.
oftentimes they'll answer no to that. And if it's I haven't even told them what we do yet, and I'm just like, my name's Joe. I'm calling from what was Chat Automation. We're actually called Meet Dwight now, but I'm calling from Meet Dwight, and they go send me an email,
Yeah.
and they don't even know what Meet Dwight is. I ask a very direct question. It's like happy to send you an email, but 9 times out of 10 at this stage of the call, when someone just tells me to send them an email, it's typically because they don't want to take the cold call because I've called them at a very bad time and not because they're interested in what we do in any way, shape, or form. And I don't want to waste my time sending the email if that's the case.
Yeah.
Are you just trying to get me off the phone right now?
Yeah.
Because if they say yes, then I'll go, fine, no problem. I've obviously called it a bad time.
Yeah.
Can I ask one quick question just to see if what I'm calling you about is even relevant and even worth sending
Mhm.
you an email in regards to? If you get a yes to that, as long as the question that you ask next is good, you may well just stay on the phone and end up booking in the meeting.
Yeah. Sometimes even with the enticement of, so I can update my system so you don't get more calls like this,
Yeah.
or a lot of people will be interested in just not getting more calls. So it's like, hey, so I make sure I'm accurate. Am I gonna? Is this email coming across to you because you're not interested and you don't feel like we're a fit for what you guys are trying to accomplish, or is this just a bad time of the day? Or take me through kind of just why the email conversation here, and at least it'll give you some context that you can work off with to move your deal forward or disqualify.
Yeah, precisely. It's about progressing the conversation, and you can't do that unless you're asking questions.
Or if you just fire the email off because you know exactly where we're going to go in that space, which is the
Yeah,
deal.
the email that you're never ever going to get a response from ever. I think we've all done it, especially my first few months as a sales guy. I sent hundreds of emails, calling people back 3 days later, they can't even remember what my name was or what business I'm calling from.
It's not a no, so you feel good. You feel like you got a little win, but it's
Yeah,
just a polite no, is what it is.
no, it's the same as sending a blanket calendar invite to someone said, "Yeah, I'm free next week. Just send something across," right?